above every storm is a blue sky. No matter how dark the night, the sun always rises because the light is always there. And so, are you ready to be free?
Yes.
Are you ready to state it and have it be so in your life?
Yes.
And take a deep breath and we'll do our treatment for freedom together. I speak my word for myself, my center, and all its members and friends. I know love as the only reality. I am created out of love. Love is what I am. I know this love as absolute freedom in every area of my life, the life of my center, and all who call it home. I know our center's mortgages are paid in full, and I claim for all of us financial freedom with all debts paid and cleared. I release any sense of struggle or wrongdoing. I live in an abundant universe where there is more than enough for all. We experience freedom in every moment by always having more than enough money, vibrant health, and loving relationships. We are who we have come here to be. With hearts open wide, we see the world through the eyes of love. We are blessed, we are rich, and we are free, and so it is. And we practice our points of power. I always pay attention. I always tell the truth and tell it quickly. I always ask for what I want when I want it. I always take total responsibility for my experience. I always keep my agreements. And so it is. Wonderful. How many of you have experienced greater freedom in your life from doing that treatment every day? Yes. Just a little information. Your center put $20,000 on principal last month, and we have moved from the over $600,000 mark to down to the $500 and something thousand mark, which for me is a whole new mindset. That $500,000, that's easy peasy. That's a piece of cake. We're going to have this thing paid off before you know it. Yes. And remember, we're all in this together. We are as strong as the strongest one of us, as prosperous as the richest one of us. That whole idea about the weakest link, that is narrow-minded. We think out of the box. We think out of the box. We live out of the box. We are out of the box. Maybe you've noticed boxy people in your life. And you go, get out of the box. Get out of the box. Open up, expand. And then I look at that and go, what does that mean anyway? Get out of the box. Do you know where that came from? That was a puzzle. The last date that they've proven it was given was in, I think, 1908, but they think that it was out there before it was actually printed. But this is a puzzle. And I'll have the next slide, Judith. There are 9 dots. And the puzzle is to take a pen and with 4 lines, straight lines, connect all of the dots without lifting your pen. So you can't have a line here and a line here that don't touch. It has to be one continuous motion that connects all of the lines. It's a little perplexing, isn't it? The only way to connect the 9 dots, wait, Sherry's looking, wait a minute. The only way to connect the 9 dots with 4 continuous straight lines, next slide, is to go out of the box. And that's where the phrase came, out of the box. If you look at the, nobody said you couldn't go past the dots. But we place limitations on ourselves based on what we believe we have to have, or as far as we can go, what our limitations are, self-imposed limitations, and then we can't do what we want to do. We have to go farther than we thought we were allowed, than we had ever thought of before. We have to go beyond where everybody else is if we're going to be out of the box, solve our problems, demonstrate the life that we want, and have what is rightfully ours, which means anything is possible, even connecting 9 dots with 4 straight lines. What's my next slide there, Judith? Good, good, good. So we're having Jenny's memorial service, and I spent a lot of time with her that last week. I was the one who went over to Margaret's house and watched her have a stroke and called the ambulance and all of that. And I have been dreaming about her, or rather she has been invading my dreams. And I'm just wondering, has anybody else experienced that? Yes. Yeah. Jenny is right here. She is right here. The first night that she passed, my dog Bliss, who is not a barker, barked on the hour, every hour out the door, to where I took her out, put her in the car, drove around the property. John was in Denver. I didn't know if there was something out there. Nothing. And when she did it every hour, I realized, Jenny's on the grounds. And Bliss, being a dog, can see that and sense that. I want to give you just a little bit of housekeeping for the memorial service this afternoon, and that is that we've been asked to keep it at an hour, and that includes everything. So if you choose to get up and share about your relationship with Jenny, please be succinct and clear. And also, we are hosting many of the members of All Souls Episcopal Church who will be coming in for lunch around 12:30. So if you see somebody that you don't recognize, please be good hosts. Say hello, welcome them, show them where the food is, the bathrooms, that kind of thing. And we get to do that. We get to be family and welcome in those other extended family members into our hearts and lives. But I've been thinking a lot about Jenny, and I'm remembering that she's been around here since 2004, and some of the best conversations that we have had were all about the new sciences, the out-of-the-box thinking, the breakthroughs that were happening. And I remember that I brought the book, Bruce Lipton's Biology of Belief, to class one day, and she just about had a fit. He's jumping up and down, and that's right, he's right. That's the way it is. And so I wanted to just share a little bit of that with you, because we have got science of mind coming into science so much. Bruce Lipton is a microbiologist, and he studies, he's a cellular biologist, and he studies cells. And one of the things that he learned is that cells are not these round things that you learned they were in school, with a membrane and a nucleus, and they did this and that, and they came together. He said, no. Cells are actually a whole being. He said that cells have systems. They've got nervous systems, digestive systems, respiratory systems, excretory systems, endocrine systems, muscles, skeletal systems, circulatory systems. They have skin. They have reproductive systems, and they have their own primitive immune system just for that one cell. And one of the things that he learned that just touches my heart so much, because in Science of Mind, we believe that every cell in our body is healthy and whole right here and right now, that there is an inherent God self to it, where it has everything that it needs, it does whatever it needs to do, and that our focusing on that can help to bring that truth of the cell forth. Well, here is this cellular biologist studying cells, and what he figured out was that, number one, the nucleus of the cell is not the brain. Didn't you learn that in like 4th grade? The center of the cell is the all-important thing? He said, no. The brain of the cell is the membrane. And everybody just take a deep breath. Because they have proven that the membrane of the cell is covered with crystals. And that the crystals are giving information and receiving information into that cell. Another thing that they have learned is that, you know, the whole nature-nurture conversation. Does a child come into this world and are they governed by their genetic predispositions, their nature, or is it the environment that they're in that brings out the best of them or the worst of them? It's the whole nature-nurture conversation. Well, he says that in the cell, the individual cell that he looks at as a whole being, if you take a healthy cell and put it in a sick environment, the cell will get sick. And if you take a sick cell and put it in a healthy environment, that same sick cell on death's doorstep will get better. It will flourish. It will regenerate. It will open up and take in oxygen and nutrients and let go of the things that it doesn't need anymore. The environment will change the state of the cell. And what do we teach? If you're not gone yet, you can heal. That it is through our intention and our focus that I am healthy, I'm wonderful, I am getting younger and younger every day. I look marvelous. I feel great. It is through our intention and our focus that our body then shifts and brings forth that health and wholeness that we are. Because we change the environment that our cells are floating around in. Sometimes people think they can get away with being toxic. Oh, I'll just watch the debate for a little while. I'll just be mad at that person for a couple of days. I'll just feel like a victim for a year or more. When we do that, we get sick. Louise Hay has written all kinds of books about it. That when we hold a certain mental idea, a certain mental atmosphere, Ernest Holmes would say, our cells in our body respond to that by either becoming ill or becoming healthy, as is what, you know, responding to whatever it is we're giving them. Another thing that Bruce Lipton showed was that cells have two choices. One is to grow, to flourish, to thrive. Another one is to defend itself. And when the cell defends itself, it cannot grow. When the cell is busy defending itself, it shuts down, it closes all of the little doorways on the membranes, it doesn't let oxygen in, it doesn't let nutrients in, it doesn't let moisture and liquid in, it defends itself. It's like it builds a wall all around it and hunkers down. And if the cell defends itself long enough, it will die. You can't defend yourself and thrive at the same time. You can do one or the other, but you cannot do both equally. So as you monitor your mental state as to whether or not you are creating a sick environment in your body, in the body of your affairs, whether you are seeing outside threats that you need to then defend yourself to, which rationalizes our use of aggression in our life. You dirty, rotten, rack fratcher, you took my parking space, whatever that may be. You pay a very high price. You pay a very high price in your physical body that can be measured by people like cellular biologists. And you pay a high price in the rest of the body of your affairs. If I'm defensive in my relationship with John, we're not going to be married long. If I carry a sense of sickness with me into my bank account or my job, that's not going to be going on very long. I have to be healthy and well and then create that environment. Not be defensive, but be open and thriving. and my body will respond, just like that. So how does that work with me? How does that work in our community? I want to tell you a story about a little boy that's in our community right now. And Larry, I didn't know you were going to be here today, but it is Larry's grandson, Tyre. And when Larry first started bringing Tyre, he was just a toddler. Larry would take him out to the park and read the Science Mind textbook to him. And he's in his little chair, you know, listening to his grandpa. And then he started to bring Tyre, and Tyre was not the easiest child in the world for our children's program, because Tyre had been diagnosed with sickle cell anemia, and he spent a lot of his time in the hospitals. And so he would be in the hospital for a few days. He will think about, what do you do to a toddler? You strap their arm down to take blood. You hold them down in these special poses that healthcare professionals have of just like pinning them so that you can do what you need to do to them. And then he would come out, and Larry would bring him here, and he would be angry. He was angry. He'd just been poked and prodded and hurt and held down and sick, and this was not a happy child. And he would come into the kids' place, and sometimes he would break things, and sometimes he would sock kids, and it would have been easy to say, oh, that's a bad kid. That's a kid that we don't want. But you know, we don't take that path. We look at the good in everyone. And so there were many Sundays when Tyre was younger that he had one adult dedicated just to him, to talk to him, to play with him, to hold him, to let him be okay, to teach him that it was safe to be here. And Tyre grew, and one of the things that you know we do is we bring the children up on the stage on Sunday after the kids club. And what do we say? We say, we love you, we bless you, and we know you are perfect. We'll go ahead to the next slide. And when you have a sickle cell in your blood, it means that instead of making big round blood cells that hold an oxygen molecule, it makes these skinny little things that look like a sickle that the farmers would use. And because of that, it doesn't hold oxygen. And so it creates a whole domino effect of things that happen to organs and to the state of the body. It can be very painful for whoever has it. But Tyre's been coming here for about 5 years now. 5 years? 5 years. They say that the only way to cure sickle cell anemia is if you have a sibling. And if that sibling is a match, 1 out of 4 possibilities, you can do a bone marrow transplant. Tyre doesn't have any siblings. So that would put him in the incurable diagnosis. But Larry was talking to Tyre's doctor the other day, and his doctor said, I am so excited about Tyre's blood work. I am so excited about this child because out of the blue, we love you, we bless you, we know that you are perfect. Out of the blue, Tyre has started to make red blood cells that are big and round. Go ahead and move on. If you take the environment and lift it up, if you take a child who is being told and growing up and having really awful experiences and say, we love you and we bless you and we know that you are perfect, and if you're angry, we will sit with you. We will be with you. We will hold you. Half the people in that kids club never had any idea what Tyre had gone through that week. And yet people were willing to be there with him, to see the good in this little man. He's had surgeries, all kinds of things. They were willing to put out there that there's a health and a wholeness inside of him, that he's wonderful, that he's an angel, that he's bringing this gift. And the blood starts changing the types of cells that it makes. We've got a hold of something that science is proving, that if you have a mental atmosphere, your physical body will reflect it. If you hold a mental atmosphere of health and wholeness, your body will be healthy. If you hold a mental atmosphere of prosperity, your bank account will grow. If you hold a mental atmosphere of love, your relationships will get better and better and better. And it is up to us to not give in to the idea of getting defensive. There's nothing to attack us. There is nothing that can hurt us. It is up to us to maintain the wellness of our thoughts, to touch our bodies, and then so that we have enough to give to those who are showing up in our world, who may not come with everything all tied up in a bow. They rarely do, but they come because this is exactly what they need. Most people think we're crazy. I mean, really, most people think we're crazy. We are creating our reality. Our world is a reflection of our thought. We are the ones who decide how our life will be. We command the power of life itself moving through us to demonstrate what it is we choose to focus upon. But people who think we're crazy are still in the box. Not bad, just still in the box. We're the ones who jettison out into the unknown, trusting that we'll find the solution, that the answer will be at hand, and that our miracles will become typicals because we keep wellness and openness, and we thrive. And so it is.